Hey guys, PP here. Is Mr. Beast a war criminal?
No.
Did he break the Geneva Convention?
No.
If you are 12 years old and you've been rampaging across the internet the past week, check yourself before you wreck yourself. But let's back up a second for the adults in the room. You may or may not have seen this clip from the recent Mr. Beast drama.
I just wanted to turn the lights off. And I'm vocalizing to people, I wish the lights would turn off. And I go up to my friend, my good friend. And I go, they're not turning the lights off. He goes, what? That's a war crime. We're not allowed to do that to terrorists. Oh, good. 24 hours breaking the Geneva Convention, I guess, is what we're doing.
Haha, funny joke, except the children seem confused. Take these comments, for example. They treat this dark joke as legitimate fact. They took that Google AI screenshot as all the proof and context they ever needed and have been running rampant across cyberspace. Now, I don't want to waffle long about the socioeconomic moral quandary Jimmy Beast has found himself in. I just want to address why these commenters have hot dog water in their intracranial spaces. And for anybody who's really confused right now, here's the 10-second version. This is Jake Weddle. All you need to know is that he was a contestant for an unaired Mr. Beast challenge in which he lived in a room for 10 days and struggled to sleep because the producers didn't turn off the lights. Now, if you open up your textbooks to page 69 and examine figure 1, you'll get a clearer picture on how this got out of hand so quickly. Now let's look at all the reasons why this isn't a war crime. Number 1, Jake Weddle was not a prisoner of war, so the Geneva Convention doesn't apply at all. But that's just a figure of speech, which is why I think it's important to note that he also wasn't a captive in any sense. Say what you want about the internal or external pressures he faced to stay on set, but he could walk away at any time, which he ultimately did after 10 days. Number 2, as it turns out, the Geneva Convention is actually pretty vague. It doesn't list out every torture method like a BuzzFeed list, top 10 torture methods to try out in 2021. But let's entertain it for a moment. Deliberate and intentional sleep deprivation is considered torture by various human rights groups. And realistically, yes, Article 12 of the Geneva Convention. But what does this mean exactly? Sleep deprivation usually involves a litany of strategies such as maliciously waking sleeping detainees every few minutes, forcing them to stand up to 24 hours a day, blasting music at them, or restraining them in some way to prevent sleep from occurring. However, simply keeping the set lights on doesn't quite meet these requirements. Jake Weddle wasn't prevented from sleeping at all. He presumably wasn't prevented from blocking out the light by turning on his side, or fashioning a blindfold with his bedding, or simply sleeping with the lights on, as most people have probably experienced at some point in their life. Finally, they gave him melatonin to help him sleep. Say what you will about that, but it's obvious that their intent was to challenge him and to not torture him. Number 3, sleep deprivation is not a criminal offense in the United States of America. So not only is this not a war crime, it's not a crime. Other crimes could be committed in the pursuit of such a goal, but sleep deprivation isn't itself a crime. For example, keeping someone awake by disturbing the peace, being a public nuisance, harassing somebody, or through false imprisonment, none of which applies to Jake Weddle consensually appearing on the set of a YouTube video. Number 4, it's clearly a joke. It was a joke when Jake's friend said it to him. It was a joke when Jake said it in the video. It was and always will be a joke, a dark joke, a Minecraft joke even, but ultimately just a joke. All that being said, I don't want to minimize Jake's personal experience from this situation. He probably shouldn't have been cleared to go on that set in the first place, and it's clear he still associates memories of that time with anguish. Keeping the lights on 24/7 and then the marathon challenge is pretty aggro for a silly YouTube video, but I also don't want to diminish Jake's agency in the situation. He wasn't a voiceless victim being captured and tortured at a government black site. The producer of the video probably wasn't the Obsidian guy from Squid Game. Like any other reality TV competition, Jake could leave whenever he wanted, which he did. There were no war crimes. There were no crimes. He could sue for civil penalties, so why not just shoot your shot, brother? If it really was that bad, then any contract or waiver he signed would be void. Calling Mr. Beast a war criminal in earnest is about as brain dead as it gets. This is what a war criminal looks like. So yeah, don't subscribe and never come back.